The story you're about to see is a big, fat lie. No names have been changed to protect anybody.
Now in its 44th year in operation, combining cartoons and football together since 1981. This is America's first and foremost fantasy football league. We are the USCFL, the United States Cartoon Football League.
Let's get ready to rumble!
And now, the USCFL Network, in association with YouTube, presents the USCFL Postgame Show. Here's once again is Robbie Graham.
Greetings, cartoon and football fans. This is Robbie Graham of the USCFL Network, bringing you the action and highlights of Week 5 and the start of Round 2 of the USCFL's 2024 season. If you're joining us for the first time, may we extend to you a cordial welcome, and we hope you'll enjoy everything this channel has to offer. We also invite you to take a moment to subscribe to this channel and join our team. We strive to be one of YouTube's least offensive channels, by providing a different spin about your favorite cartoon characters from the past and present that doesn't reflect on their true legacies. If your favorite character or characters aren't mentioned in our videos, please leave a comment and we will answer your questions. Also be sure to ring the bell to alert you of when we put up any new videos. The USCFL is on Patreon, and you can help support us for as low as $3 a month to as much as $5 a month, which averages out to 10 to 17 cents a day. In time, we can offer merchandise and other perks to help show your love for America's oldest fantasy football league. In 1 minute, we will talk about and present the highlights of Game 9 between the Cartoon Network All-Stars and the Modern Cartoon All-Stars in the first ever Color Rush game from New York. Welcome back. As round 2 begins, all 4 teams this week were looking to keep up their winning ways or to get back on track. The distance between Newark, New Jersey, where the Cartoon Network All-Stars plays their home games, and New York City, where the Modern Cartoon All-Stars plays their home games, is only 29 miles, considering that the Modern team is now in Queens. It's the shortest distance between 2 teams in all of the USCFL. In Friday's game, Cartoon Network crossed the Hudson River to take on the Modern team. Cartoon Network were looking to turn things around after their loss to the new Dick All-Stars, while the Modern team, led by Bloom of the Winx Club, in her first official start, pulled a rabbit out of a hat and won against Hanna-Barbera, coming back from a 30-point deficit. In the first quarter, Cartoon Network came out of the gate in a big way by starting with a 7-yard touchdown pass from Johnny Bravo to Blossom of the Powerpuff Girls to go up 7-0, after Bloom threw an interception on the first play of the game. Susan Tess put up a field goal to go up 10-0 nearly 5 minutes later. Sailor Moon put up a field goal for the Modern team to trail 10-3 after the first quarter. In the second quarter, Steven Universe ran in the end zone from 4 yards out to go up 17-3. Nearly 8 minutes later, Johnny Bravo ran in on the quarterback draw from 2 yards out to take a commanding 24-3 lead. Susan Test's second field goal closed out the first half as Cartoon Network was up 27-3. In the third quarter, Cartoon Network refused to relinquish their stronghold on the Modern team as Johnny Bravo ran into the end zone for the second time from 2 yards out to go up 34-3. 2 minutes later, Bloom threw a 60-yard touchdown pass to Brock of the Pokemon series to trail 34-10. More than 5 minutes later, Johnny Bravo and Blossom connected again from 7 yards out to give Cartoon Network a 41-10 lead at the end of the third quarter. The only score of the fourth quarter was Susan Test's third field goal and put the icing on the cake as Cartoon Network won 44-10. Cartoon Network will go back across the Hudson River for round 3, while the Modern team will go on the road. As for the stats in this game, beginning with Cartoon Network, Johnny Bravo was the player of the game as he finished 28 of 43 for 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He also rushed for 28 yards on 5 carries and 2 rushing touchdowns. Steven Universe rushed for 154 yards on 36 carries and 1 touchdown. Blossom led the receivers as she caught 6 passes for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Ice King of Adventure Time led the defense with 4 tackles and 2 assists. Susan Test finished with 14 points. For the Modern Cartoon All-Stars, Bloom finished 19 of 40 for 230 yards, 1 touchdown, and 4 interceptions, as she leads the league currently in interceptions with 9. Kyle Broflovsky rushed for 88 yards on 24 carries. Sailor Mercury led the receivers as she caught 6 passes for 58 yards. Yu-Gi-Oh! Led the defense with 8 tackles and 4 assists. Sailor Moon finished with 4 points. And here's the highlights of this game, courtesy of EA Sports. In 1 minute, we will talk about and present the highlights of a thrilling Game 10 between the Warner Brothers All-Stars and the Nickelodeon All-Stars from Detroit. Welcome back. 2 of the 4 teams had a reversal of fortune, but will it happen again in this game? We'll explain the answer to this question with the game scoring. The Warner Brothers All-Stars barely lost to the classic cartoon All-Stars last week, while Nickelodeon dominated against the DC Comics All-Stars with a stellar performance. Like in Friday's game, after Bugs Bunny threw an interception on the first play of the game, Nickelodeon took advantage of this as Danny Phantom ran into the end zone from 10 yards out to go up 7-0 with just 56 seconds gone. About 2.5 minutes later, Bugs Bunny connected with the Roadrunner from 24 yards out to tie the game at 7. About 4.5 minutes later, Bugs threw his second touchdown pass to Marvin the Martian as Warner Brothers led 14-7 at the end of the first quarter. In the second quarter, Bugs threw his third touchdown pass to Speedy Gonzalez to go up 21-7. About 4.5 minutes later, Daffy Duck ran into the end zone from 11 yards out to take a commanding 28-7 lead. To close out the first half, SpongeBob threw a 66-yard touchdown pass to Sandy Cheeks to trail 28-14 at halftime. In the third quarter, a pair of Sam Manson field goals gave Warner Brothers a 28-20 lead. In the fourth quarter, Wile E. Coyote put up a field goal to go up 31-20. Just 23 seconds later, Starfire of the Teen Titans intercepted a SpongeBob pass and ran it back for a pick six to go up 38-20 with just over 11 minutes left. Nearly 4 minutes later, Wile E. Coyote's second field goal, put Warner Brothers up 41-20. Just 25 seconds later, SpongeBob threw a second touchdown pass to Kitty Catswell of Tough Puppy from 80 yards out to trail 41-28. With more than 3.5 minutes left, SpongeBob threw his third touchdown pass and second to Sandy Cheeks to trail 41-34. Nickelodeon had 3 chances to tie the game and send the game into overtime, but failed. Warner Brothers barely slimed Nickelodeon 41-34. Warner Brothers will go back home for round 3, while Nickelodeon will go on the road. As for the stats in this game, beginning with Warner Brothers, Bugs Bunny finished 23 of 33 for 228 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He also rushed for 39 yards on 7 carries. Daffy Duck rushed for 194 yards on 36 carries and 1 touchdown. The Roadrunner led the receivers as he caught 5 passes for 71 yards and 1 touchdown. Raven of the Teen Titans led the defense with 6 tackles and 3 assists. Her castmate Starfire was the player of the game as she had 4 tackles, 1 assist, 1 interception, and the pick 6 she had in the fourth quarter. Wile E. Coyote finished with 11 points. For Nickelodeon, SpongeBob finished 26 of 41 for 381 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Danny Phantom rushed for 72 yards on 23 carries and 1 touchdown. Kitty Catswell led the receivers for the second game in a row as she caught 8 passes for 167 yards and 1 touchdown, and currently leads all receivers and tight ends with 399 yards and 4 touchdowns. Her castmate Dudley Puppy led the defense with 6 tackles, 5 assists, and 1 interception. Sam Manson finished with 10 points. And here's the highlights of this exciting game, courtesy of EA Sports. As you heard, all four teams had a reversal of fortune as Cartoon Network and Warner Brothers, who suffered losses in round one, won in round two, while the modern team and Nickelodeon, who won big in round one, lost in round two. In 1 minute, we will continue our series of player profiles with a character whose skepticism became her trademark, as we will profile Daria Morgendorffer.
La 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 la, this is my stop. Got to get off. I may go pop. Excuse me. Excuse me. I've got to be direct. If I'm wrong, please correct. You're standing on my neck. You're standing on my neck. You're standing on my neck. La 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 la, la 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 la.
Welcome back. In the early 1990s, Beavis and Butthead was all most people talked about with their crazy antics. However, one character became so popular that she got her own series. This week, we're profiling Daria Morgendorffer, a character whose viewpoint on the world made her an even bigger star than the characters she came from.
Daria is an American adult animated sitcom created by Glenn Eichler and Susie Lewis-Lynn. The series ran from March 3rd, 1997 to January 21st, 2002 on MTV. It focuses on the title character, Daria Morgendorffer, an intelligent, cynical high school student voiced by Tracy Grandstaff, reprising her role from Mike Judge's earlier animated series, Beavis and Butthead. It is a spin-off of Beavis and Butthead in which Daria appeared as a recurring character. Although Judge allowed the character to star in a spin-off, he had no involvement in the production of Daria himself, as he was busy working on King of the Hill. The series focuses on Daria Morgendorffer, voiced by Tracy Grandstaff, reprising her role from Beavis and Butthead, a smart, acerbic, somewhat misanthropic/cynical teenage girl who, along with her best friend, aspiring artist Jane Lane, observes the world around her. The show is set in the fictional suburban American town of Lawndale and is a satire of high school life, full of allusions to and criticisms of popular culture and social classes. As the show's eponymous protagonist, Daria appears in most scenes with her immediate family, Mother Helen, Father Jake, and younger sister Quinn, and/or Jane. It is set during Daria's high school years and ends with her graduation and acceptance into college. The principal location used for the show, outside of the Morgendorffer home, is Lawndale High School, a public education institution filled with colorful and dysfunctional characters. The dynamics among the two lead characters changed during season 4, when Jane began a relationship with Tom Sloan. Though Daria is hesitant to accept Tom at first, fearing she will lose her best friend, she and Tom find themselves becoming closer, culminating in a kiss in the season finale. The emotional and comedic turmoil among Jane, Tom, and Daria was the centerpiece of the TV movie Is It Fall Yet?, and the relationship between Tom and Daria fueled several of season 5's plotlines. The plots of Daria largely concern a juxtaposition between the central character's jaded, sardonic cynicism and the values/preoccupations of her suburban American hometown of Lawndale. In a 2005 interview, series co-creator Glenn Eichler described the otherwise unspecified locale as a mid-Atlantic suburb outside somewhere like Baltimore or Washington, D.C. They could have lived in Pennsylvania near the main line, though. For comedic and illustrative purposes, the show's depiction of suburban American life was a deliberately exaggerated one. In the New York Times, the protagonist was described as a blend of Dorothy Parker, Fran Lebowitz, and Janine Garofalo, wearing Carrie Donovan's glasses. Daria Morgendorffer 16 and cursed with a functioning brain, has the misfortune to see high school, her family, and her life for exactly what they are, and the temerity to comment on it. Daria Morgendorffer, the show's title character and protagonist, first appeared on MTV as a recurring character in Mike Judge's Beavis and Butthead. MTV Senior Vice President and Creative Director Abby Turkle explained that when that show became successful, we created Daria's character because we wanted a smart female who could serve as the foil. Daria's original design was created by Bill Peckman while working for J.J. Settlemere Productions during Beavis and Butthead's first season. During production of Beavis and Butthead's final seasons, MTV representatives, wanting to bring in a higher female demographic to the channel, approached story editor Glenn Eichler, offering a spin-off series for Daria. In 1995, a 5-minute pilot, sealed with a kick, was created by Eichler and Beavis and Butthead staffer Susie Lewis, although written by Sam Johnson and Chris Marcel. Among 4 other animated pilots pitched to the channel, Daria performed the strongest in focus groups, especially among middle school-aged participants, a fact that bothered MTV initially, as they felt their core audience at the time was instead 18 to 24-year-olds. But after show's staff argued that college students don't really watch much television, MTV approved a series order of 13 episodes. Both Eichler and Lewis were signed onto the series as executive producers. The first episode of Daria aired on March 3, 1997, roughly 9 months before Beavis and Butthead ended its original run. Titled Esteemsters, the episode established Daria and her family's move from fictional Highland, the setting of Beavis and Butthead, to the new series' equally fictional locale of Lawndale. As well as introducing Daria's parents and younger sister, Quinn, as principal supporting characters, the first episode also introduced Jane Lane, Daria's best friend and confidant. Other than a brief mention of Highland, Daria did not contain any references to Beavis and Butthead. The series ran for 5 seasons with 13 episodes each, as well as 2 TV movies and 2 TV specials. The first movie, Is It Fall Yet?, aired on August 27, 2000, and took place between seasons 4 and 5. MTV planned an abbreviated 6-episode 6th season, but at Eichler's request, this project was cut down to a second movie, Is It College Yet?, which served as the series finale on January 21, 2002. As for her time in the USCFL, Daria joined the league in 2006 as a third-string tight end who's seen very little action. Other cast members joined in later years. Now that a good portion of characters left for the New Dick All-Stars, Daria has been moved up to backup tight end and will be used more often in 2 tight end sets. If it meets with YouTube standards, the following is a brand new video showing how Daria deals with some very adult issues. If it doesn't, please send an email at uscflnetwork@gmail.com and we'll send you the video with our compliments. Of all shows set in high school, Daria is by far the most serious when it concerns real-world issues.
I'm sorry, but for the second week in a row, we are unable to bring you the video that we made for this week's player profile. If you send us an email at uscflnetwork@gmail.com, we will send you the video with our compliments. In 1 minute, we will reveal the answer to last week's trivia question, this week's question, and a preview of next week's games. Welcome back. Now for the answer to last week's trivia question. If you remember, we tried something new this season as we asked you to fill in the blank of a saying made by selected characters, and we would have that character say the full line. Remember, we gave a partial quote said by the original She-Ra from the original series. Here again is the partial quote. She said, quote, "Hordak, you don't tell me how to do my job, and I won't tell you blank." Now here's She-Ra herself saying the full line.
Hordak, you don't tell me how to do my job, and I won't tell you how to be a power-mad, narrow-minded fool, all right?
You have to admit, when She-Ra gets mad, she'll let you have it with a line like that one. And another Hall of Fame question, we will also try something called Next Line Please, where we will tell you the line said by one cartoon character and the reply from the character they're talking to. Now for this week's question. The category is, and now a word from our sponsor. The degree of difficulty is pro or general knowledge. For 31 years, from 1971 to 2002, Dennis the Menace and his friends were seen on packaging from which fast food company? Which company was it? Is the correct answer A, Subway, B, Baskin-Robbins, C, Chick-fil-A, or D, Dairy Queen? We'll have the answer for you next week. And that will wrap things up for Week 5 and the start of Round 2 of the USCFL's 2024 season. Next week, we'll talk about and present the highlights of Game 11 between the defending champion DreamWorks All-Stars and the 80s All-Stars in an opening day rematch from Miami, and the highlights of Game 12 between the DC Comics All-Stars and the Dick All-Stars from Las Vegas, along with another player profile in the USCFL. And until next Sunday, this is Robbie Graham of the USCFL Network reminding you to help support us on Patreon for as low as $3 a month or 10 cents a day. Take care and stay safe.
All the characters and franchises mentioned throughout this webcast remains the copyright of their respective owners. They were used for the purpose of entertainment and or education, and therefore no breach of any copyright laws were intended. This webcast is protected under copyright and must not be rewritten, re-recorded, rebroadcast or re-uploaded in whole or in part without the prior written consents of First and 10 Productions, the American Association of Animation, and the United States Cartoon Football League. Copyright 2024.